The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
It's officially summer, and with the scorching sun and bright blue skies is the memory of every summer that's come before. Even the word summer shoots a prickle of nostalgia down your neck, sending you back to the sticky, aimless days between June and September when life was good and the living was easy. But memories aren't just triggered by sights and sounds. What about smells? Chandler Burr, a perfume critic for the New York Times, once called a particular scent the single greatest work of scent branding ever. Since 1944, this brand has offered a product with a fragrance so synonymous with summer, it's hard to say which came first. Does it capture the essence of summer, or does summer itself, and the memories we associate with it, smell like this iconic scent? As the leading sun care brand in the U.S. with $9 billion in global sales, their success proves one thing. Summer is all about having fun in the sun. And that's why this week's On Brand is on Coppertone.
We're all jazzed up, really having a cow. And what's your favorite show? And it's on right now. It's on Brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I am Jon.
I'm Marisa.
Okay, summer is officially here.
Woo! So, something about summer just makes me want to go, woo!
I love that. I'm sure your neighbors love it. We all love it. Just go to the beach. Woo! Go to the Americana.
Woo!
I could not figure out what this was, that entire read. I was like, chills down my spine.
The word summer sends a prickle of nostalgia down your back.
Oh, man, I could use a prickle.
It's been years.
It's been a minute. I'm a sweater. Like, I sweat pretty easily. I'm sweating right now in air conditioning. So it's complicated. Summer for me is complicated.
Your relationship with summer.
Also being still consider myself in the vampire family. I have an aversion to sun.
Yeah.
So it's like, I like summer when the sun goes down or there's a lot of shade.
Your favorite thing about summer is nighttime.
Yeah. Warm summer.
Come to think of it, I don't think I've ever seen you cruising down the Pacific Coast Highway in a convertible with a scarf in your hair like
Thelma and Louise.
Hands up, saying woo.
Driving off a cliff.
Holding
Holding hands with you.
Yeah, I don't think that doesn't ring a bell.
No, but I did used to always drive convertibles, which is funny because I hate the sun.
You are an enigma, and I think our listeners are very well aware of that by now.
I think they're learning that. But I have to say, summer nights in the Midwest, summer nights in Cincinnati, when I get to go home, like in June or July, and they have fireflies, which we do not have on the West Coast.
I thought they were lore. I thought they were like fairies until I was like 15.
They seem like fairies. And when I'm home, by my mom's house, there's like just this big open field, and that's the best way to watch them. And at like dusk, I just go out there and I sit. I mean, it is, no matter how old I get, I think it is such a magical thing. I do love a warm summer night with fireflies and
your nose in a vampire book.
Reading the latest Anne Rice novel.
Swatting away mosquitoes with your cape.
Summer, I mean, you are a California girl, so summer to you must have been a completely different experience.
So our summers were very different. I think it was middle school into high school. There were a few years where every summer, every single day was at the beach.
Yeah.
So like my mom would drive me to the beach, drop me off at 10 a.m. and I wouldn't get picked up until like 6 p.m. And this was like where you have to call on the payphone, you call collect, and then you ask your mom to pick you up without having to pay the charge.
Right.
Yeah.
Mom, I'm at the pier at the Santa Monica.
Exactly.
I do not accept the charges. Bobo drives over.
Yeah, she would drive over and pick me up. So there were a lot of days of like all day in the sun, bobbing around in the ocean, flirting with other 13-year-old boys, eating a burger on the sand. I mean, it's the stuff dreams are made of.
So you spent a lot of time in the sun?
A lot of time in the sun. I spent so much time in the sun as a teenager, and then I went on to work in a tanning salon as an adult. So let's just say me and the old UVA, UVB rays are quite chummy.
Is that why your skin is that way?
You know what? I actually got a compliment from our dermatologist, Dr. Soleimani, and he said I have very good skin considering how much time I've spent in the sun. And I said, say no more. Compliment's a compliment.
Say no more. I'm leaving. No, wait, we still have an exam. I'm leaving. Say no more. No, your skin is stunning.
Thank you.
I have to say, I'm not begging for a compliment. I'm an ex-smoker. I used to smoke a lot. I feel like I have pretty good skin considering how much I used to smoke.
You have wonderful skin. You look very youthful. But that's based on, I don't know how old you are. So you could look great for your age or bad for your age. I don't know.
I know. That also is very complicated. Now I'm just kind of, I mean, we'll get into the show, but I'm just like all these thoughts of summer running through my head.
Is there a better thing to talk about than summer? It's the best.
Like when we were kids, like we would literally, we would like go out at the beginning of the day. We would just be gone all day. It would start to get dark and you would hear the crickets and the fireflies, and then your parents just start yelling for you to come home.
What were you doing? Just like throwing rocks at a wall or like just like random stuff, right?
Throwing rocks on walls.
Throwing rocks at a wall.
Al,
you ever throw rocks at a wall?
Oh, surely.
Yeah, come on. And this was
He's
like pre-internet. We're throwing rocks at a wall for 2 months straight.
No, I was so lucky. I grew up in a cul-de-sac with all these other kids, and like we did so many random things. We had behind our house was like woods, and there was like this little clearing in the woods where like it was like a perfect place for all the kids to meet. We would go there and hang out. I think I've told you like a couple of times we put together like a newspaper, and we would like play school. We would walk to an arcade that was like probably 3 miles away.
Yeah.
Like that, like, can you imagine letting your children, we're going to walk to the mall?
I know, they'd call the police.
And it was just like, it was such a different time, and it was so free. And like in the Midwest also, what I think is different is it stays light so much later. Like the sun doesn't go down until like 9:30.
Oh my gosh.
Like if you're in like Michigan, 10 o'clock.
Really?
So
I thought that was like Alaska.
No, Alaska is 24 hours.
Wow. News to me.
So it was, this will be fun.
That sounds so fun. Yeah, there was like, so my version of summer it was all like beachy and like Saved by the Bell, which was so magical. But I also had this like longing for like the Midwestern summer camp woods kind of summer that felt really like I was being deprived of by being like a beach gal. That sounded so nice too, to be like a place that's very wooded and like fireflies and.
That's so cute. I love that, like, because we're the same age. Like, I picture us like on different different coasts, both sitting as children, dreaming of the childhood the other one has.
You and me in 1997. So I was 11. You were.
I was alive. I was watching Titanic in the theater in 1990.
We both were watching Titanic in the theaters in 1997.
Yes.
What month did it come out? Was it a summer blockbuster?
I feel like Titanic came out in December. Al can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think it was in December.
An Oscar movie, yeah. That same summer when I was going to the beach constantly, I bought a bathing suit that I thought was a British flag inspired by the Spice Girls. It turned out it was a Confederate flag, and I wore it for an entire summer.
You thought it was a Union Jack?
Yes.
And it was like a
Honestly,
Dukes of Hazzard?
Those flags, pretty similar.
Actually, now that I think about it, pretty similar.
Try to draw one and name which one it was that you drew, because it's tricky.
Very interesting, considering our last episode was all about how symbolic a flag is and how it says so much just by looking at it.
I bought it at a swap meet for like $5. And I wore it to the beach, and somebody was like, "That's a Confederate flag." And I was like, "Who cares? Big deal."
Listening to Spice Girls.
Blasting Spice Girls in line for a popsicle, just having the best time of my life. Oh,
that's
getting
probably
my flirt on.
I feel like that's probably the only Confederate flag that's ever been in California.
Yeah, I know. What was that even doing? It was a really simpler time. Being a kid and just being out for school and having no obligations and just partying, playing, hanging with buddies.
Yeah.
It was just the best. And Coppertone specifically, sunscreen, tanning oil was something that I did use as a teenager, which now feels like wild that like my mom bought a 13-year-old girl, 12-year-old girl tanning oil. But what are you going to do?
Oil always seemed a little weird, like that you were literally cooking yourself to me. Like I was more of a lotion and now like a spray boy, but like just like rubbing oil all over your body and just
greasing yourself up like a Costco chicken.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. And then just laying in the sun. I find the beach kind of awful. Like I like the sound of it. I like the scale of it, but God, laying on a beach, I get so bored.
Don't you feel like we haven't cracked the code on like the way to sit on the sand? Like I haven't really ever like, sure, there's a chair, but I don't know. Even that feels imperfect. The towel on the sand, the towel gets wet, the sand sticks to the towel. It feels like
there's
this is a bad idea.
Like the normal chair is too tall. Then they have
Yes.
those little low boy chairs that I really struggle getting in and out of. It's like at some point I just have to allow gravity to let me fall in it, and then
Your ass is like a quarter of an inch off the ground, and it's like it's technically a chair. There's arms.
Have we told the story about when we were in Hawaii and I was trying to scuba dive on the beach, and I am not a very coordinated person. I've never been able to roller skate. I've never been able to skateboard, anything on wheels, anything on my feet other than shoes. I can't function in them.
Yes.
And I had these flippers on, and I wasn't convinced that I had good enough balance. I think you're supposed to put them on once you're in the water.
You put the flippers on at the beach towel about 80 feet away from our entry point into the ocean. And so you were like snorkeled up with your swim shirt on and your trunks and the flippers. And you were walking like a penguin the 80 feet and really, really struggling.
But I physically could not get myself into the water.
No.
Like I would look I look like a sea lion. Like I was like I would get in and the sea would push me back out. And I was so angry about it. And I couldn't solve this riddle. And this man came over and he's like, hey, he's like, you're doing it wrong. I can help you. And I was like, please, sir, I'm too upset to listen to this. He's like, no, but I can really, like, it's easy. I was like, sir, please just leave me alone.
To be arguing with a stranger while you have a snorkel on is really funny.
And someone who's just trying to be kind.
Yeah.
Someone who's like, we can get you in the water.
You also were rampantly touching sea turtles on this trip.
No, I touched one sea turtle.
Everywhere you go, they say if you see a sea turtle, don't touch it. And then you pop your head out of water and you're like, I touched one. Like, Jon.
I did. I just touched it with my finger. I mean, I had to say I touched it. It was really cool. That whole thing. Snorkeling, man, I never knew I would like it quite so much.
See, you like the beach. You like parts of the beach.
I like parts of the beach. I'm
not
curious.
the sun, not the sand, but
Right.
parts, yeah.
God, the sand. It's just okay, I'll stop complaining. This is a joyful podcast. Before we start the show, I'd just like to address the fact that you had a poll on our social medias.
I did.
Last week, it was revealed that I purchased 5 insulated totes from Trader Joe's for whatever reason. They're my reasons. And you put up a poll asking if I should give you one.
Well, based on the fact that you said you like to have one of each color, so that's 2. So you have 3 extra. And you said the 3 were to give away to friends.
I said those bags would be good.
To give away
as
to
a gift
friend?
bag.
Okay.
I didn't say I was doing that. As we all know, I like to have backups of things. So there's 4. So that really just leaves 1, which will go in my pile of things I'll never sell, but I think I'll sell someday.
Okay.
Anyway, so this poll happened heavily in your favor. The listeners voted heavily.
I think like 97%.
And so and then people writing us messages saying, Jon, just give her a bag. For the love of God, Jon, just give her a bag. We love the show, but give Marisa a bag. Here's all I want to say about that. And I'm not opposed. I enjoy giving you gifts. I've given you things over the years.
I know, which is why it would be weird not to give a bag.
But what I find a little off-putting about this whole thing, if you'll remember, when you brought up this subject last week, you were very meh about the bags. You were like, we kind of realized we were in different camps. You were in the camp of people that are like, I don't get it. It's just an insulated bag, blah, blah, blah. I'm the one that's like, I enjoy this. It's a small little treat. It gives me that rush of buying something. Why would I give you one if it's not something that you even wanted? I don't remember exactly what you said. I would love it if maybe we could hear a clip of that.
If there was a stack of bags and I was passing by, I probably would have picked one up. The thing that I was confounded by, and still am to this day, is the frenzy. What separates this bag from all the other bags? And if there is a new item at Trader Joe's, whether or not I, understand it or know what I'm going to use it for, I will buy it. Just like, I'll buy their little sponge cloth. I'll buy their new Brazilian nut body butter. I like to know what Trader Joe's has got cooking up in their little lab, in their shed, so to speak. But the frenzy is what confounded me. Them selling on eBay for $30.
Listen, I'm in that camp. I know you think I'm part of the frenzy.
Yes.
I think I'm very in the middle. I would never run in to grab it or reach over someone to get it.
Of course. You would never bash somebody over the head with your purse.
No. Sure, I will get it if it's there, and I'll call around to see if it's there. But I think I'm somewhere in the middle. So
you get to have the best of both worlds. You get to be like looking at the freaks and be like, glad I'm not them. How many do you have in stock? Can you put 3 aside for me? You get to have both.
Is the limit really just 3? Can I buy 5?
Is there wiggle room? If I return with a mustache, could I possibly get 3 more?
Is it true that the red and green are coming out in August? Do you have an exact date yet? It's like that.
There's new colors coming out in August?
Red and green.
How do you know?
I mean, of course I know. I know these things.
How do you know?
Because this is what I do. I know these things.
But how do you know? Did you see it in the mom's busy meal idea group?
It popped up a lot in my TikTok.
Okay. You didn't call.
No, I really didn't. This isn't where I try to reveal slowly that I was crazy.
We'll check in again in August to see if you've picked up the phone and your concierge on speed dial.
All right. So I just wanted to address that.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With a large selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Now, where were we? Coppertone?
So let's just talk a little bit about the history of sunscreen altogether.
I love that.
So this takes us back to 3100 BC.
There is nothing I love more than picturing the time before Christ. And what that was
like.
What
a world. Can you imagine?
And it's like, they realize that the sun is burning them. They know they need to block it. Obviously, they don't have a simple solution. I assume they're like laying fish on their arms or something.
They might have been laying fish on their arms. It's interesting whenever I read something like this. The Egyptians use ingredients such as rice bran, jasmine, and lupine, which is a plant, to block the tanning effects of the sun on the skin. And I think about how many things did they try? Recently, they've done scientific studies that rice bran absorbs ultraviolet light, jasmine helps repair DNA, lupine lightens skin. So it's like the sunscreen they made in 3100 BC could have been sold by L'Oreal. Like, it worked. Like, how did they get there? Did they start with laying fish on their arms?
And how do we know that they did that? Are there like written records? Is there hieroglyphics? Like, how do we know the recipes?
I guess somebody found it scrawled on a pyramid wall.
It just seems a little sus.
There's a lot I don't know about ancient Egypt.
Yeah, same.
And I'm not about to start.
Ditto.
It begins and ends with sunscreen.
Yeah.
Now we're in 800 BC. The ancient Greeks are using olive oil to protect their skin from the sun. And it turns out olive oil has an SPF rating of 8. So if you find yourself in a pinch and you're really desperate for something, olive oil's better than nothing.
You know what I got to say about the Greeks? My friend Mandy and her family's Greek. Talk about people that tan beautifully.
Ooh.
She just gets that nice, like, bronze skin when she's in the sun.
Olive, gorgeous.
I wonder if she's just been rubbing olive oil on her body.
We need to find you a Greek husband. A real Uncle Jesse.
I wouldn't mind an Uncle
Which
Jesse.
of the dads on Full House are you most sexually attracted to?
Marry or kill
Yeah.
Full House.
Danny, Jesse, and Joey. Joey's the one with the puppets.
Right. And he's the
Danny is the widow.
I guess
Jesse's
I'd kill him. Definitely, I guess, Jesse.
Okay.
And marry.
Danny.
Is it Danny?
Mm-hmm. That's like the dad.
Yeah.
That's the only right answer.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I can't think of any other way for those to shake out that would make marry Joey. No.
Though Joey was the inspiration for a famous Alanis Morissette song.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah. So there must be something to him.
Yeah. Was she cranking him off in a movie theater? Is that what that was?
Would she go down on you in a theater? Yes. So she went down on Uncle Joey in the theater.
Do you think it was Titanic? The year kind of checks out.
She went down on him the same rate that the ship sank.
Oh.
There's your movie. Babe, we got to keep this clean.
Get
There's
back on
children
track.
listening.
Yeah, should they be? I don't know.
Babe, we're only in 800 BC.
So we got a lot of time to cover. Now we're in the 1600s. Women in Europe, they're wearing face coverings made of velvet to protect their skin from the sun, and they're using skin whitening cosmetics containing lead. Not ideal. So now we'll go to the 1800s. A man named Dr. Hammer in Germany is the first person to create an ointment to prevent sunburn. The scientific name for sunburn is solar arrhythmia.
I like that.
It contains quinine, which is an anti-parasite medication used for malaria. So at the time, people are starting to make the connection between sun exposure, sunburn, sun sores, like what they will later realize to be skin cancer.
Sun sores.
Yeah, for like blistering from the sun.
Oh, geez.
Dr. Una, he's a German physician, coins the term for this as Semen-Schaut-Carzinom. So this is what he's calling basically skin cancer back then.
Oh,
Sailor's skin carcinoma. Semen-Schaut-Carzinom. I guess sailors were getting pretty badly burned out there on the rough seas.
If they're just using semen, I assume that they would be.
I don't know the SPF rating on semen. I'll have to send some to the lab. So now by 1910, Dr. Una, he's hard at work to make a sunscreen, and he uses chestnut extract.
Who's like, hey, I've got these nuts. I'm going to squeeze them, get the juice out, and see if it protects me from the sun.
It's wild.
All these people are insane.
His product is called Zeozon and Ultra Zeozon. Do you have any notes on the name of this product?
I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't just call it nut oil.
That's
right?
a good brand aid.
There's our brand aid for
Well,
that one.
that's the Hazinga. That's the first Hazinga is the name. The second Hazinga is that the formula is not well liked. It's too thick. It's too gooey. It gets the job done, but it's not like the ideal texture you would want for a sunscreen. But it's used by German soldiers in World War II.
So it's a thick nut. That's basically peanut butter.
I think it might have been peanut butter.
Like, this isn't protecting me from the sun. I don't like it. It's great on toast.
You get a little bit on the corner of your mouth, a little snack.
Hazinga.
So now it's the 1920s. Coco Chanel.
Okay.
Heard of her?
Here
She
we go.
takes a Mediterranean cruise where she is photographed lying in the sun, getting a tan on purpose. Her friend, Prince Jean-Louis, which I like to think of us as like Coco Chanel and Prince Jean-Louis.
My vampire name was Louis.
Oh my God, it's perfect. Jean-Louis.
Louis de Vampire. I had it written inside my belt. And I think, I could be crazy. I'm sure I'm not. I think I still have that belt. I think I still have that belt in my closet.
You wouldn't be you if you didn't. And so he said that he thinks Coco Chanel may have invented sunbathing. So up to this point, nobody was getting tan on purpose. So now as the culture is changing, tan skin becomes a sign of a healthy, leisurely, privileged way of life. You don't have to be at work all day, toiling away at the 1920s lozenge factory. You're so rich, you can now be laying on a beach, soaking up the sun, and now being tan is the precedent of beauty in Western culture. It didn't make its way to post-colonial countries like Africa and Asia, where lighter skin is still associated with increased privilege and better social standing, places where labor typically happens outside. So being rich meant sitting on your ass inside and being pale.
I mean, I do feel like this is a perfect example of just because a famous person does something does not mean it's right or it's the best thing to do.
So we see the first tanning oils hit the market in 1935. The company that is now L'Oreal develops the first tanning oil with UV radiation filtering properties named Ombre Solaire. We're not talking about L'Oreal, but it's relevant to the story because they were the first product advertising to promote tanning. Tanning 5 times faster without burning. That product can still be bought today. That wasn't in America yet. So we'll talk about UV rays.
Okay.
So like I said, I did work at a tanning salon for 2.5 years. So I do consider myself to be an expert on the subject.
Definitely more than me.
People would come into the tanning salon and they would say like, is this really like bad for me? Like, is this really going to like age me and give me skin cancer? And I had to say, no, it's actually really good for you.
You had to not just deny it, but
I had to double down and lie. And the argument we made is that the vitamin D benefits you get from UV rays are so cancer preventing that laying in a tanning bed actually prevents cancer.
oh my God, you're like big tobacco.
I really was.
Wow.
I'm not like a villain in this story though, because I made minimum wage and literally there was a guy who would poop in the trash can in the tanning bedroom and I had to go like pick it up with like a plastic bag.
But you agreed to the salary, and just because one person does something a little
I'm
ornery,
low man on the totem pole. I'm just doing what I'm told.
so you're like, it's okay. to
I'm
lie
not
about
big
this.
tobacco. I'm the person who like sells cigarettes, like, at a cart.
Yeah, big
in the
tobacco.
town.
They now, I actually did think that tanning beds were not that bad for you. Are they just as bad as the sun?
Well, they are bad for you in that they promote aging. So there's two types of UV rays, UVA and UVB. So if you see on a sunscreen, it says broad spectrum. That means it protects from both UVA and UVB rays. UVA rays are 95% of the rays that are on Earth. They're responsible for almost all skin aging and also tanning.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of tanning beds are UVA rays mostly, or UVA ray only. So you're not going to burn, but you will get like cellular damage that will cause wrinkles and aging.
Got it.
UVA rays, they penetrate lower layers of the epidermis. This is how tanning happens. It triggers melanocytes to produce melanin. So everyone has different amounts of melanin in their skin naturally. It's the brown pigment triggered by UV rays that causes tanning. The reason for this is when skin is exposed to UV radiation, the increased production of melanin, or the tan, is to protect the skin from further damage. So people who are naturally darker skinned, they have more natural melanin, which protects them from sun damage, which is why some people say they age better, they have less wrinkles, their skin looks better as they get older.
Got it. So B is what we want then.
You want all B?
I want all B, right? That's the other 5%.
The other 5% is UVB rays. They don't penetrate the skin as deeply. They cause the surface damage on the skin, like sunburns.
Okay.
So this is a fun thing about UVB rays is UVB rays do not penetrate glass. So you don't get UVB rays through like your car window or sitting next to a window at work, but you get UVA rays, which will cause rapid aging. And UVB rays also cause skin cancer.
Now, I used to have fun. You'll probably think this is gross. When I was pretty fair skinned. And when we would go like on spring break or wherever, we would go to like Hilton Head Island or Florida, and I would get a sunburn. I loved it. Like when 2 days later, I could peel my skin off.
Oh, this is so on brand for you.
I would try to see how big of a sheet of skin I could pull off my leg.
God, that is repulsive.
I know, it's gross, right?
Didn't you put glue on your hands and peel the glue off?
I would put glue on my desk at school the day before I wanted to eat it.
Oh, that's right. I knew it was something with glue. This is so much worse than peeling it off your hands.
It's no different than like prep.
You were like, set it and forget it. This was like your slow cooker.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's no different than like prepping for Thanksgiving on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Sure.
I'd put little dots of glue like on the top of my desk.
Oh,
and then the next
Jesus
day.
Christ.
And I would I had it down. Like I would do like a really flat one if I wanted like it to have kind of like a fruit roll-up texture. But sometimes I would do like a thicker drop. So the middle would be kind of like a runny egg.
Oh, God.
No, you never did that?
No.
Al, did you ever do that? I'm not alone here, right?
To me, it's even just gross to eat off of a school desk. You know what I mean?
Well, in hindsight. In hindsight. I was a kid.
There's a lot about this to be desired, if we're wishing.
Getting school supplies. Mom, I need more Elmer's. She's like,
wow, you're really going through this glue.
Just drinking shots of Elmer's glue.
Licking your lips, drooling.
Oh, God. It's good. I know I'm not the only one out there that's eaten Elmer's glue.
If you've eaten Elmer's glue, not even just like one time to be curious what it tastes like, which I get, but habitually with a level of planning, premeditated glue eating, please reach out.
Let us know.
Please reach out to your loved ones and tell them you need help.
Let me know I'm not the only one. Okay.
So now it's 1942. The Army Air Force approaches the American Medical Association Council of Pharmacy and Chemistry for a top secret experiment to study. I don't know why it had to be secret. They were like, invent sunscreen to study the most effective protective substances to prevent sunburn of men who are stranded in the desert or on life rafts. So for some reason, this became a secret mission to try to figure out what substance would make the best sunscreen.
Well, I think it would be top secret because this is clearly for military use. So they wanted, in their heads, they were probably like, aha, we're going to protect our boys from the sun while the other side just burns.
Yeah, cook like an egg. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they find that this name of this product is so disgusting. Dark red veterinary petroleum.
What?
I found like on Google Image, just like a little tin of like what it is, but
Yeah.
just something about dark red,
Yeah.
like dark red Vaseline for dogs. It's like dog Vaseline. It's just everything about it just sounds so gross.
Yeah, I don't even think I would eat that.
If you were hungry enough, fifth period rolls around. Uh-oh.
I mean, if I get a little on my finger, like who's not
I
going to
mean,
be
you
cute?
gonna wipe it or lick it? If you get something on your finger, do you wipe or lick? I feel like you always lick.
I
no matter what it
try
is.
to get more on my finger. Like when I eat Cheetos, I gross myself out if I look at myself through your eyes.
Yeah.
But if I'm eating Cheetos,
You should get more mirrors at your dinner table.
you should never share a bag of Cheetos with me.
Good to know.
When I put my hand in there, you may think I'm just grabbing a Cheeto. I'm picking up a Cheeto and I'm rolling it in my fingers like this to get all the dust on my fingers. Then I eat the naked Cheeto, and I'll do that like 10 times until my fingers are bright. Why am I telling everyone this? My fingers are bright orange, and then I've rolled those together to make these little cheese ropes, and then I eat those.
Al's face right now. He's about to keel over.
So I like short walks on the beach. I'm looking for just someone to spend my life with.
So they have this red vet pet, which is what they called dark red veterinary petroleum. And it ends up having all of their desired qualities. It's waterproof, it's inexpensive, it's non-toxic, and the paste is soon dispatched in military survival kits and life rafts. So World War II, pharmacist Benjamin Green, he's an airman in World War II, and he uses this red vet pet on his face. He found it very heavy and unpleasant to wear. I mean, I've never slathered horse Vaseline on my face,
God.
but I imagine is probably pretty yucky.
Well, that's my other issue has always been my issue with sunscreen and lotions. I don't like to have lotions on my body. I don't like it on my face. I will do it if I know I'm going to be in the sun. If I'm going to the beach or Disneyland or something, I'll spray my face, but I don't like it.
You don't like the feeling of being slathered up.
Not even, even just a little. Like I like to be like as dry as I can. I just don't. Al's
Dusty
shaking his
boy.
head. Yes, he agrees with me. Finally, we agree on something.
You're both dry dudes.
We're both dry dudes.
This is the first time you guys have ever overlapped. So this red vet pet is thick. It smells bad, but it does work. It prevents sunburn. And he returns to Miami, Florida, where he worked at a pharmacy, and he spent nights and weekends experimenting with better ways to formulate this red pet vet. Oh, it's just even that name. It's just
like
hell.
I hate this. Can we move on to 1960?
Working out of his kitchen, he's adding like cocoa butter and coconut oil.
Okay.
He was bald.
Oh, no.
So he tested the different formulas on his own head in the Florida sun.
I love that.
Can you imagine the neighbor like hosing their lawn and seeing him like coming out of his shed with like a greased up head in the sun and like a timer and like measuring?
a little number, like trial
Drawn
number
on the
32. He wrote with his fingernail in the salve.
I mean, that'd be a good scene.
That's Matt.
It could be.
Never know.
Or Stanley Tucci.
Oh, yeah. That's actually perfect. Stanley Tucci. We need to get him in more of our fake movies.
Yeah, he's actually the perfect actor.
Yeah, I love Stanley Tucci. I wasn't expecting this, but the more I'm thinking about it.
Imagine his little bald head shining up in the sun. So he becomes the owner of the pharmacy that he works at, the Douglas Drug Company, and he felt his product was ready to be manufactured. So he created the name Douglas Laboratories. At some point, Stanley Tucci got financing from two Miami businessmen. They become a part of the company. This gave him like the money and the business staffing to grow from local distribution, nationwide sales in under 10 years. Though Douglas Labs was the manufacturer of the product, they took on the company name, which was Coppertone.
Coppertone, of course.
Coppertone is the first tanning lotion. So nobody used the term sunscreen or sunblock until like much later. That was not what they were advertising the product to do. It was advertised as a product to prevent burning while promoting a tan. So these were some of their slogans. Tan, don't burn. Tan faster with Coppertone. And don't be a pale face. That one's a little mean.
If I'm choosing, I think pale face is good.
You like that one?
Yeah. Don't be a pale face.
So by the mid-1950s, the product is very known for its marketing, featuring an iconic little girl and a dog pulling down her drawers, revealing her white ass.
It's such a perfect name. I don't know how we went from like all these terrible, weird scientific names to
Right.
like Coppertone is like so perfect.
The copper tone of your skin from using the product, but it's not so literal. It's not called like tan cream. It's just like it evokes a feeling. And this little girl was, I believe, the first big factor in Coppertone's marketing. And this iconic drawing, which I have like seared in my mind. There was a time where I thought I loved this picture so much of this little girl with this dog pulling down her bathing suit.
You always wanted some sort of animal to pull down your panties.
I thought this would be a really fun, sexy Halloween costume as an adult, and where you would wear pasties so you look naked. Because I think she's shirtless. She's shirtless. So you're wearing pasties to cover up your nipples, and then you have bathing suit bottom on, and you have a little stuffed dog pulling down your bathing suit bottoms, and then you have like a tan line. I think that'd be really fun for like West Hollywood Halloween parade.
Al, will you make a note that tomorrow we need to reach out to Spirit Halloween? To see if they'll bag this.
I have a pitch.
Sexy.
What would the Spirit Halloween knockoff name be for sexy tan baby?
Sexy tan baby.
Yeah.
I think I get that baby confused maybe with the Morton Salt kid. I feel like there's a handful of kids back in those days that were like, in my head, they were all like, had their head turned and looking a little coy.
A little coy, that's right. So this picture was an illustration drawn by Joyce Ballantine. She was a commercial artist, and she modeled the little girl after her own 3-year-old daughter. So this Joyce Ballantine, she's a very interesting character, and I think she could actually have like a biopic, I'll say. We'll do a little tangent on Joyce because she's just so interesting. She was born in Nebraska near the end of World War I. She always loved to draw. And during the Depression, she would even sell like paper dolls for $1. She was very industrious. She would enter art contests. She won a scholarship to Disney School for Animation in California, a little girl in Nebraska. But the representative heard her on the phone, and she just sounded like such a young little girl that he rescinded the scholarship.
Based on her voice?
Yeah, because she sounded like just like a little girl. I mean, he obviously knew she was a girl based on her name, but just something about her, he just didn't like that she sounded like so like girly and like young. So apparently that was kind of a theme in her career, as people not taking her very seriously. She went on to study at the American Academy of Art in Chicago, where she met her husband. She drew pictures for dictionaries, maps, painted murals for movie theaters, learned to fly a plane, all before the age of 25. So she's a very interesting woman. World War II began, and even male artists would get drafted. So who's left to do, the art that you need for your artist jobs? Doors are starting to open for women, and her old college professor was a famous artist, and he got her a job at a pinup studio. So she started making illustrations for pinups. She used herself as a model. She illustrated hundreds of pinups, which are now like collector's items. In 1954, she painted 12 pinups for a calendar published by Shaw Burton, and the calendar was reprinted so many times due to demand. This was like the calendar in like the bunker during World War II.
Right.
It was her pinups that were on the calendar, and they were all modeled after her. So it was her thing. And she kind of created this style of pinup where she didn't want it to be too risque. She didn't want it to be fully nude. She said her trick was to make the pinup flirtatious. You want the girl to look like your little sister, or maybe your girlfriend, or just the girl next door. Are you okay?
Just thinking about my little sister.
Getting y'all steamy.
Sorry,
she's a nice
Allison.
girl.
Sorry, Elizabeth.
She's innocent, but maybe she got caught in an awkward situation that's a little sexy. So if like you look up her pinup pictures, it is what you think of that time. It's like a lady like in an apron, like leaning over a toaster, and maybe your apron's like stuck in the toaster, like revealing like her butt. Like it's all little like, funny things, which is funny because that's exactly what the Coppertone kid is. Yeah. It's a child who got herself in a
precarious situation.
That's a little frisky.
What's happened is what all that's happened to her in that thing is that the dog's pulling down her swimsuit.
Yes, that's the picture of the dog pulling down her swimsuit. So she had now had this big like pinup career. In 1959, Coppertone reached out about the campaign idea with the dog. She was given a few examples, like stick figure drawings to go off of. She used her daughter, who was 3, as a model. She made some sketches. Joyce received $2,500 for the ad, which is about $26,000 today.
And that's all she got? It was like
all
a
the money
one-time thing?
Yep.
God, things like that drive me so crazy.
She seemed kind of a little bitter about it. It seemed like she was really tired of, obviously it was her most like famous work. And I was reading this interview about her from a few years before she passed away. And she was kind of like had a bad attitude about it. She said, it was just another ad, just another baby ad, kind of boring. She's like a real salty, like chain smoking, drinking all day kind of gal.
Yeah.
A real salty dog, which it sounds like you kind of had to be a salty dog coming up in a man's world in the 1950s. So
absolutely. And I'm not even joking. I do think this would make a good film.
It absolutely would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of perfect.
It has everything. It has like
Sex, rejection, man versus woman,
against all odds,
children's clothes being pulled off. It's like literally everything that you would want.
They made a billboard of the logo that they were all over the United States where a motorized dog would pull down the little girls' bottoms.
Wow.
Perpetually, like up and down, up and down. And most of them are, obviously since long gone. But one of them is still around, and it is in Miami Beach.
Oh, that's fun.
Since then, they have modified the logo to make it a little less sexy.
What is it? Now it's just the dog.
She's in a one-piece bathing suit, and the dog is just like hopping up at her.
Okay.
There's no mention of tanless. I think the demand for people to want their 3-year-olds to be tan has kind of maybe gone by the wayside.
You don't let
it's
your
not
child...
one of my concerns as a parent, how tan my kids are.
Be sure to eat your nuggies. You have to tan for 2 hours before bed.
It's a different time,
That's why people move to the Midwest, because the sun's out so long the children can tan for hours.
Those are valuable hours to get those rays.
Tannin hours.
The second big factor in Coppertone's branding is the scent. So I know you're not a big beach boy.
I feel like I would put all sunblock, sunscreen, oil scents. To me, they're all one kind of vacation-y smell, because I don't wear it every day. I know you're supposed to. I don't go out in the sun every day. But they are all kind of like coconutty, tropical, like they've all got the same vibe to me.
Yeah, they all have a really similar scent palette. And some of what you're smelling is sunscreen itself. Like the smell of sunscreen has a kind of like scent that now we just associate with kind of those summer tropical smells. I assumed it was more coconut, but this Coppertone smell that I can just remember so vividly, because this was like our family sunscreen. It is green, orange tree, crushed leaves, lilac, lavender, orange blossom, jasmine, rose, lily of the valley, ylang ylang, with herbal and spicy notes not disclosed, in a woody, musky, balsamic base.
That's all in like... That's their signature scent?
That is how it's described. So the scent is called Coppertone 6, and it was created by Shirling Plow, who was the parent company who was manufacturing Coppertone at that time. And as I mentioned in the opening, Chandler Burr, who was a former perfume critic, called it arguably the single greatest work of scent branding ever. So Coppertone invented that scent. So every other smell that follows, which you think of as just like a sunscreen smell, started with Coppertone.
I had no idea. I feel like now I need to go to Target and get a whiff of this stuff.
Yeah, it some people say it doesn't smell the same, because I think the formulation has changed, probably to make it cheaper. The types of chemicals used in the sunscreen has probably changed. So it's people say it's not exactly the same.
So I need to go on eBay and find a vintage bottle of Coppertone.
They are on sale for $19.95. 3/4 full.
Did I ever tell you the time I went to Big Lots? And I don't know why I was shopping for shampoo at Big Lots, or I might have just been walking by and there was some sort of shampoo or something that had a unique scent. And I was like, I want to smell this. So like it had that one of those little click lids, like, you click it. So I clicked it and I tried to like squeeze it and I couldn't really smell it. And then I gave it like just a little too hard of a squeeze, and it literally like jizzed like it shot out. It went into my nose.
Oh no.
I got like half of my face covered in the shampoo because there must have been some like air bubble or something there trapped. I couldn't figure out what to do with it. And because it was Big Lots, and
I think you can kind of get away with anything you do from that point forward is allowed at Big Lots.
I wiped it off on a shirt they were selling.
Walked away.
And walked. I was like, I'm done. I don't need anything here.
Never to return again.
Yeah.
I think that's what I would have done too.
Well, that's very interesting.
Isn't that interesting? A researcher on human memory even used it as an example of an odor that evokes autobiographical memories. So they were doing this experiment where it was like, look at a picture of the beach, for example, like what kind of measuring on your brain, like what kind of memories, however many memories that stimulates, versus smelling Coppertone. And Coppertone was clinically proven to evoke autobiographical memories. So deeper, more vivid, like feelings of nostalgia, memories of your past.
I have one of those that's so specific.
What is it?
Fresh paint. Anytime I smell like fresh paint, it makes me think of like the first day of every apartment I've ever lived in.
That's a good
like
one.
It's such a like smell of like new beginnings and like the unknown, and I just love it.
Do you keep a little mini can in your purse?
Yeah, you don't see it because I wipe it off before I come here, but I usually every morning just wipe fresh paint under my lip. So I could smell it.
A
No,
little
but do you have
beige
anything like
mustache.
that? Any like trigger scents?
Yeah, and I don't know what the smell is, but sometimes I catch a whiff of it. But it's the smell of like preschool. So it's like crayon, it's like cleanser, it's like linoleum. It's kind of waxy, like the way crayons smell, but there's also like a smell of like
Glue.
cookies, like packaged cookies, like Nilla wafers. It's a really weird combination of scents. It's really funny. And so sometimes I don't know exactly what to attribute. The smell is as complicated as Coppertone 6 itself. But it's really funny when that happens. I love that.
That story made me think of two different things, and I don't know which one to share. One, I'll just share quickly. School, remember how when kids would vomit all the time?
Yeah.
And the janitors would just throw a big pile of sawdust on it? How weird was that? That's all I'm going to say about that. And then the other one I was going to say, which I think I've already talked about on the pod, is this cologne that I bought that's called Burnt Barbershop. And it's like this barbershop in France burned down in the 1800s, and all that was left was this little bottle of cologne. And you smell it, and it smells like exactly what it says. That reminds me of that, like that story, like you would find a candle or something that like somehow they get the undernote of linoleum and all of those things. I've never really thought about the world of fragrance, but it's I'm sure such a complicated and fascinating things. And I bet it's one of those things where there's people that are like, they have like scientifically like perfect noses, or they can smell things in ways that other people can't.
Yeah, like super smellers.
That are like, can make a ton of money by getting a job with some big brand to like help them find their scent identity.
This guy who's a celebrity makeup artist, Stephen Dimmick, he wrote in an interview that Coppertone is his #1 fragrance recommendation. So he says it happens all the time. People will smell him walking by in the street. They'll say, "Oh my God, what perfume or what cologne are you wearing?" And he'll say, it is Coppertone sunscreen. He wears it intentionally because he says it invokes the memory sense that everybody responds to with joy and happiness. Because when you wear sunscreen, you're out, you're on vacation, you're in the sun, you're having a good time. So if you want people to be very happy to see you, cover yourself in sunscreen before your next big date.
When you were telling that story, I pictured him just being like dripping in oil.
He says he like just puts a little dab on his wrist, and I don't know, I guess that's enough.
That's so funny.
I know, isn't that so funny?
Did I ever tell you the story? Like, I dated this guy in college, and he had this smell that was like, I was so addicted to.
Oh my God, like just, a musk?
I hate the word musk.
You do?
But
musk?
It must have been a musk.
Why
like,
do you hate musk?
I don't know. There's something, because it makes me think of like scent sacks and a skunk.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's something just gross about it.
I don't like when somebody's like, oh, yeah, they had a pet skunk. Yeah, you can get the stinker removed.
My mom had that.
I don't like when people say you can get the stinker removed.
She had the stinker removed. She had a pet skunk when she was little.
I don't like that. I I like having a pet skunk. I don't want to talk about the stinker.
You wanted his scent bags intact?
I want to keep the scent bags intact.
So this guy that I dated, like I loved his smell, and then he went away for the summer, and like I had like a shirt of his or something, or a hat, I think, and I would like smell it. I was like, God, it smells so good. And then I saw him like a year or two later, and like we hugged, and he was like, there's that smell. And he was talking about me, and it never entered my mind that someone else would have that same thing for me. And I thought it was such a cool thing that like it made me feel like I'm not crazy. Like,
what was your smell at that time?
Probably Cheetos.
Cigarettes and Del Taco.
Cigarettes, yeah. Vampire novels.
Did he go, oh, there's that smell. There he is. Elmer's glue.
It's like, I forgot. I actually have dinner plans. I can't stay that long.
American spirits.
God, talk about a slow burning cigarette.
Oh
but that's for another show.
I'm so glad you don't smoke anymore. So 1978, Coppertone develops SPF. So they're the first people to like sell the SPF concept, which becomes an important part of the Coppertone sales efforts with customers. At this point, it's like, it'll be like SPF 4 because they didn't really know about like sun protection quite as much.
Right.
So I was surprised to learn this. Do you know what SPF means? Like how they calculate that?
Like what the actual letters mean?
Yeah, or do you know, it's sun protection factor, but do you know like how that's determined?
I have no idea.
I didn't know either. So laboratory tests are carried out on an untanned patch of skin, such as a volunteer's butt.
Volunteer, does that mean no pay?
No pay.
I'm willing to show you my buns and let you test your product out on it for free.
They apply sunscreen liberally to the buns, which is then exposed to UV lamps. Then they measure how long it takes for the skin to get a minimal burn when covered with sunscreen and how long it takes to get the burn without sunscreen. So that's like their calculation. So the number of seconds it takes a patch of skin to slightly redden when covered in sunscreen is divided by the number of seconds it takes it to redden with no sunscreen. So say it took 300 seconds for it to burn with sunscreen and 10 seconds to burn without it. 300 is divided by 10, which is 30. SPF is 30.
Wow. I really had no idea.
Isn't that strange?
That's very interesting.
That's strange, right? That's
I'm learning a lot.
That's a good one for your summer kickoff tailgate.
For your 4th of July barbecue that's coming up.
Over a dip bowl.
Over a nice dip bowl.
Now it's 1982. The Coppertone brand is America's #1 bestseller in the sun care market. And that is still true to this day. As I mentioned, the logo has changed over time. The branding has kind of changed. Now they're really emphasizing sun protection and burn protection instead of just tanning. And the smell, as I said, like some customers have noticed it's changed. Some people still love it. If you want to get a whiff of the original Coppertone scent, you can try Bobbi Brown's Perfume Beach, which is thought of to be a very close match. Or as we said, you can get a vintage bottle on eBay for $19. And that's it. That's Coppertone for you. So, John, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is Coppertone on brand or off brand for you, John Glover?
Ooh, I like that question. I would say coming into this, I would have assumed that this would be off brand for me. I don't think doing a sun product was even on my radar to do for the show. It's not something I would have thought about. I have to say, what I enjoyed that I learned about it is the whole scent thing. I think I never would have known that. And I think it's so fascinating. And one thing that I love about brands is how much thought goes into things that you may not think about. Like that is a scent that has resonated with people. It kind of shaped the industry moving forward. It has expanded in a way that even though it's not something I thought about, like I said earlier, like the smell of any of those sunblocks takes me back to like spring break and trips to Hawaii and all these like special moments in my life. So now I would say that it is on brand for me.
I love that.
What about you? You picked it, so clearly you had some sort of connection to it.
And Coppertone is not a brand that is very much like a part of my present, but I will say it is a huge part of my past. And so for that reason, it is very on brand for me because the logo, as controversial, as sexy as it is, and the scent, which is like iconic, the scent that legends are made of, one whiff, one word, one utterance of Coppertone, and I am immediately, I'm 13, I'm in my Confederate flag bikini, I'm seeing Sugar Ray live. I don't have a care in the damn world.
Wait, Sugar Ray? Did you mention Sugar Ray earlier?
No, but you know, it's all part of the lore.
Wow. I love that I get needled to reveal all my things, eating glue and everything, and you're just like...
You think me seeing Sugar Ray live is as embarrassing as you eating glue every day for an entire school year?
1,000%. And by the way, it wasn't glue every day for an entire year. It was like special occasions. I would occasionally eat glue.
Yes, Coppertone is very on brand for me.
Awesome. I love it. So I just had a few shout outs that I wanted to give to the people that were able to guess my Insta egg this week. If you remember, it was the rainbow flag. This was the first Insta egg where I really struggled what to do with it. If you didn't see it, I just wrote out the definition of what a flag is, and each sentence was like in a different color of the rainbow. I thought it was not to like toot my own horn. I thought it was kind of brilliant. And the following people guessed it correctly. And a few of these people are really getting it every week, and I love that they're so engaged and they're getting it every time. We have Alex Cash 517, we have Kara McGrady, we have Deborah, we have Jay Searless, Eric Makes a Mess, Brittany Stewart Fogg, F-O-G-T, Aaron Powell, and I'm assuming this is a married couple that I talked about last week who we said were saving their marriage, Ruby and Corey Hatton, and Elaine, A-L-A-N-E.
This is so cute. These are like our wheel watchers.
I love it.
On Wheel of Fortune.
I love posting that on Tuesdays and like seeing like who reaches out and they're like super excited about it, or they're like, yay, I want to learn more. Or a lot of people this week were like, is the rainbow flag a brand? I don't know. It was kind of one that I thought would be a little more challenging because it's not like a classic brand like Quaker Oats, but those people.
Quaker Oats, that's a good one.
I'm taking it.
And I want to give a shout out to Andrew SJL, who gave us a lovely 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, which brings me to the end of the show. So if you can subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. If you haven't given us a 5-star review, please do. You can check us out on Instagram at OnBrandThePod. You can see clips from the show. You can see John's Insta eggs. Chat with us there. If you have a Coppertone memory If you also like fireflies, if you ate glue, we love to hear from you.
Can you imagine if someone hated fireflies? If someone was like, God, I hate those things.
I'd be very curious to talk to them if they do.
What a weird thing.
And we'll be back next week with an all-new episode.
And as I always like to say, we may go off topic and learn things like Marisa still loves Sugar Ray, and I may occasionally eat just a little nibble of Elmer's, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.